Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Joravsky Show for your Friday, December 4th. Our host just had a breakthrough, an online breakthrough. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yes.
Share it with us.
I don't even know how to articulate this. I need a millennial to help me explain this, but I was on one side of the internet talking to Dr. D on Google Meet, and I clicked a button saving the Dr. D tab, went somewhere else to check the spelling of a name that I'm using in my opening, and then came back to Dr. D. In other words, I didn't check out of the Google Meet and go, I was really like Mark Zuckerberg there, D.
One proud producer over here right now, okay? Ben, I'm so proud of you. You're figuring out the internet.
It's so embarrassing. Oh, God. I got Zoom in my phone now. So my youngest daughter put the Zoom. So now I could do Zoom without begging my wife, honey, can you help me with the Zoom? Oh, okay.
The Joravsky household's a more peaceful place these days now, I assume.
Oh, God, I am clueless. I admit it, ladies and gentlemen. I admit it.
All right, your clueless Ben Joravsky Show is moments away, but before we do this, let's thank these sponsors. The Chicago Reader. Love the Chicago Reader. Check out the Chicago Reader, chicagoreader.com, to find out what's going on in the city of Chicago. Ben, your latest article. Tell us a little bit about your latest article in the Chicago Reader, if you could.
My latest? Oh, it's Chicago City Council. Yes, I had a lot of fun with this. I just noted, I took a little deep dive, and all my our listeners are, let's face it, they follow Chicago politics as much as I do. The diehard listeners. So you know what I'm talking about. When you have committee chairs, you're supposed to be loyal to the mayor. You're supposed to vote the mayor's budget. Isn't it interesting that the three committee chairs that voted no got to keep their committee chairmanship, all the trappings and the power that comes with it? Young Tom Tunney, the 44th Ward zoning chair, perhaps one of it was one of the high-profile positions you can have in the city council. Matt O'Shea for the 19th Ward, Beverly, got aviation. And, of course, Harry Osterman, the housing committee chair of Edgewater. So things are changing in the city council. Mayor Lori Lightfoot may have told Jeanette Taylor, if you vote no on my budget, don't come to me for shit. But it's a different attitude, I guess, with North Side Alderman and Southwest Side Alderman. Hey, you can vote no, sure, and still be a committee chair. So I just explored that a little bit, D. I did a little exploration.
There you go. That column and more on the Chicago Reader, all right? Subscribe, especially if you want to show that you support the Ben Joravsky Show. Remember to subscribe. Oh, and also, Ben, remember yesterday we had a little powwow, another breakthrough online. Ben, you have the mute button.
Oh, I forgot about that. Hold on.
Your Google Meet.
Hold on, here we go.
He's learned he has the mute button, guys.
Wait, Wait, I just pushed the wrong button.
Boy.
All right, here we go.
Oh, where'd he go? Where did he go? Ben? Hello? Ben? Okay, please hit unmute. You're scaring me.
I'm sorry. Okay. Here I am.
Okay.
See, what you missed was this sound. But I wanted to do this, but that would be unprofessional. That would be unlike WGN and WBZ. So instead of hearing this, I put the mute button on.
We haven't got that email on what the hell's up with that bottle cap yet, but I feel it coming in 2021. So,
D, this could be my audition for BEZ. Ben Joravsky here, WBEZ. Oh, fascinating news, Madigan. Very ironic.
All right. Check out the Chicago Reader. Subscribe. Show that you support the Ben Joravsky Show by subscribing. It's a fantastic publication. Okay. And, of course, today's Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you by our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. On to your song of the day, Ben. You got two choices here, all right?
Thank God.
Jim, now, usually Frank is first. Boom. Every day, right there with the song of the day. But Jim actually beat him to the punch today. So he picked a song, and if you don't know it, we'll see if you know Frank's song, all right? So Jim's song is Mystery Ship by Grand Funk Railroad.
Grand Funk Railroad. I know we're an American band. Wow, 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 wow. Can I just sing a different Grand Funk Railroad song?
You know what? We'll take that one. The Ben Joravsky Show starts now. It is Friday, December 4th, and live from my apartment in his attic, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, it's another Rummana Rundown with Chicago Sun-Times editor, Rummana Hussain. And now your host, Chicago Reader columnist, Ben Joravsky.
Hello, everybody. Ben Joravsky here, columnist. Look what I found Friday, and here's why. Well, as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, MAGA is in an uproar. Their boy, President Donnie, lost the election, and they're throwing a massive hissy fit, as in, we lost. It's like father like son. You've heard of that? Well, this is like president like MAGA. Poor losers, both of them. And it starts at the top. But MAGA is taking it an extra step. They're threatening the lives of vote counters and secretaries of states and governors and Republicans and Democrats alike. Everyone they can find a scapegoat to blame for the simple fact that Joe Biden just whooped Donald Trump by almost, I've lost track. I think it's 7 million votes, something like that. I haven't been paying attention. That's million with an M, ladies and gentlemen. But there's one case with truly dubious circumstances that MAGA is curiously quiet about, as in, cat's got your tongue, MAGA? Meow. Welcome to the 22nd Congressional District in upstate New York, one of those purple districts, not unlike our very own 14th right here in Illinois. What up, Lauren Underwood? It swings red one election and then blue the next. The incumbent in the 22nd is Anthony Brindisi, a Democrat. The challenger is Claudia Tenney, a Republican.
Brindisi.
I had a feeling you'd like that name. She used to be the congresswoman from the district, so as you can see, swings one way, swings the other. There's an old song. Frank knows it. This door swings both ways. This door. Anyway, sorry. On election night, Claudia Tenney, the Republican, was winning because, as we all know, President Donnie instructed Republicans to vote in person, not by mail. Even though he voted by mail, I don't know. It's confusing. And Republicans do whatever Donnie tells them as opposed to whatever Donnie does. So, brown line going by. Hold on. Let the brown line pass. Chugga, chugga, choo, choo. Hey, Rom, how you doing? So as I said, on election night, Claudia Tenney was winning big because they count the in-person ballots first. But as the mail-in votes got counted, Brindisi closed the gap. And then he went ahead. Then he fell behind. Meanwhile, the reporters are like sports writers at a tennis match. If you could see me, my head's moving one way and then the other. It's McEnroe versus Bjorn. Two tennis players from the 80s. That's what it's like, ladies and gentlemen, a tennis match. And as the reporter,
what's it like again? What's a tennis match like again?
Thank you for asking. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Great special effects.
Can we just hear it one more time?
But you got to see it, D. My head's going left, then it goes right. Because, in a tennis match, you watch the ball go that way, and then you watch the ball go that way. I love tennis, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Brindisi. He closed the gap. Then he went ahead. Then he fell behind. And then she's ahead. And now he's ahead. And last I saw, she was up. The Republican was up by 12 votes. 12 votes. And meanwhile, reporters going berserk following this thing, revealing all kinds of interesting things like the case of the missing Post-it notes, which had mysteriously fallen off a stack of disputed ballots, making it unclear whether they'd been counted and whether they had been challenged. The scandal has been christened Sticky Gate by local media. Well, I guess, D, we're not the only people who just throw gate on the end of anything. Although we throw it on anything. Like today, for instance, I call it Dr. D Gate. That was yesterday when you didn't answer your phone. I was like, where's Dr. D? Dr. D Gate. Anyway, the local media in upstate New York called it Sticky Gate. Then there was this big doozy. Follow me on this, folks. With the Republican Tenney up by only 12 votes, somehow or other, they discovered 55 in-person ballots that apparently had been, quote, mislaid and never counted. Huh? How do you discover mislaid ballots? Here's more details. Quote, 11 of the ballots are invalid, officials said, because the voters weren't registered. Huh? How did unregistered people get to vote? But wait, there's more. Of the remaining 44 ballots, most were cast by, drumroll, Republicans, which favors Tenney, who holds the 12-vote lead. Say what? Or as Pat Whalen would say, wait, what? Or is it, wait, who? I forget the line. I blew it again. Let's read that again, ladies and gentlemen, because I really want to impress upon you this little tidbit from the 22nd congressional district election in New York. Quote, of the remaining 44 ballots, most were cast by Republicans, which should favor Ms. Tenney, who holds the 12-vote lead. So let me get this straight. You mean you just happen to find 44 ballots that just happened to be cast by a Republican, helping the Republican who had a 12-vote lead? Hey, Rudy Giuliani, spray on some spray paint and get over there and hold a press conference. But of course, you're not going to see Rudy running anywhere, or Al Lynn Wood, or Attorney Sidney Powell, or any of the other dubious characters who've been claiming fraud to help Donald Trump. And if dubious electioneering in the basement of some Republican courthouse in New York State helps a Republican, well, you are not going to hear anything but radio silence from MAGA. Look, folks, I'm going to be all bipartisan with what I'm about to say. This is not a perfect system. It's run by humans. As such, there will be mistakes. As such, it's possible that ballots will be mislaid. Boxes will be put in one place and then they'll forget where they were. And yes, there will be people who will try to cheat. And there will be people who get really mad when they lose, and then they'll get really cocky when they win, and they'll argue fraud if that helps their case, and they'll argue against fraud if that helps their case. There'll be bad winners and poor losers. The winners will say, just get over it. Remember Scalia? Just get over it, as he snatched the election away from Al Gore. And then the losers will be going, it's the principle of the thing. Democracy is at stake. This has been going on for a long time, folks, with close elections. Every cycle has a close election, which got somebody in tears and someone going, phew, thank God I dodged that bullet. But of course, the Biden-Trump election was nothing like that. It wasn't an election decided by 12 votes with 44 ballots suddenly being discovered in the basement somewhere. No, it was a trouncing. I think I read this somewhere that Trump was trounced more than any other incumbent president since Jimmy Carter. He was trounced. So they really are stretching this thing to claim hoax. And they're really quiet when they find 44 ballots somewhere in a courthouse that benefits the Republican. Look, folks, like I said, I'm trying to be bipartisan. I'm trying to be, like one of those. I really am finding my inner WBEZD. You know what I'm saying?
Great.
I'm really trying.
I just put in a new application there. Sent in my resume. I'm glad you're feeling it. Maybe work out.
They always go, well, like the story could be about Republicans up to no good, but they'll find something Democrats did bad just to show that, they're not partisans. And so that's me. I'm really doing that. But it's hard to be bipartisan when Donnie's mobilized MAGA, when he's got people out in the streets threatening the lives of anybody who doesn't state the obvious. Anyway, I'm trying to be bipartisan, but the other side's got a long way to go. We got a great show today, everybody. Rummana Hussain will be here. Chicago Sun-Times editor and columnist, and a woman who plays it by the book. You will never know where Rummana Hussain stands on any political issue, D, because she's from the old school. None of this partisan, wearing your heart on your sleeve stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, D? Huh? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, she'll let it slip every now and again, you know?
Every now and again. Then she'll go, can you erase that? My favorite is Maya, the most openly lefty person I know. I bet I'm not going to tell you who I voted for because that would be wrong. I wonder who you voted for. Anyway, we have a great show ahead of us, plenty of political talk. But before we do that, the young man from Alton, the man MAGA, and Daga. That's... I just made that up.
Who? Daga?
Daga. That's Democrats. Great again. I don't know. I got to work on that one. They both agree he's widely known as Dr. D with the news.
I wish you would have ran that Daga thing by me on the pre-show prep, buddy. Could have saved you there.
I got this great concept. We got MAGA, right? I'm just listen to me, D. How about Daga?
Hey guys, I'm Dennis. What's going on? Before we find out what's happening in Chicago and or Illinois for the fourth and final time this week, well, we need to take a little time to try and convince all of you listening at the moment to download this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews. That's right. While we're away, a brand new Ben Joravsky interview for you to play. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, available by 5 a.m. at the Chicago Reader website or wherever else you download podcasts. Here's this weekend's lineup. On Saturday, we had a big get. He's the producer of the Netflix hit The Queen's Gambit. Ben, tell us about this Benny J bonus interview on Saturday.
I want to thank Joan, a very loyal listener to the show. It turns out her son is the producer of Queen's Gambit, not just Queen's Gambit, which is the #1 movie in Netflix, but the guy's got 30 years in the business. He's produced a lot of movies. So, yeah, he came on. It was a blast. And I know he wanted to come on and talk. He's a good sport. I know he wanted to come on and talk about Queen's Gambit. But, you know, like after about, 5-10 minutes of that, boom, let's talk movies, man. We just took the deep dive on movies. You know, everybody, I'm a movie fanatic, and this guy knows his movies. Obviously, Bill Horsberg has got about 30 years in the business or so as a producer. So we talk about, oh my goodness, Harvey Weinstein got a little discussion time in that one because he's Harvey distributed some movies that Bill produced down through the years. He talked about the ups and the downs of trying to raise the money. Sometimes you have to invest like 10, 15 years in a project. And so fascinating talk. Really enjoyed this conversation with Bill, and I'm hoping to make him, a regular. Get him. Really hope we get him with Sergio Mims.
That's what I was going to say.
Those two guys.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Sergio Mims, Black Harvest Film Festival. I always said Sergio. Nobody knows movies more than Sergio. This guy, Sergio Mims, it's prodigious the amount of information he has about movies. But I think Horsberg might give him a run for his money. So that'd be interesting to get him on the show together. Maybe do an Oscar show. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Tomorrow, Saturday show, Bill Horsberg. It's a great one, if I must say so myself.
Yes, listen as a host nerds out and goes off into movie land, and our guest brings him right back into reality. Hey, talk about my movie. It's
kind of what happened.
That did happen.
The Queen's Gambit.
You'd be like, all right, right now, tell me your top favorite movie of all time. Well, and then I got to say, my new movie coming out is pretty good. Like, there we go. It's not his first rodeo here. But it was a great interview. It's going to be available tomorrow by 5 a.m. On Sunday, we're bringing you First Tuesday. It was Tuesday, December 1st, a virtual First Tuesday with Ben Joravsky and our Chicago Reader colleague Maya Dukmasova at the Hideout with guests Peter P.C. Cunningham and Alderwoman Rosanna Rodriguez Sanchez. Ben, of what ward?
33rd. Come on. Your ward. Dr. D's ward.
That is
your
ward.
Alderwoman.
Yes, that is. He's still got it, guys. The folks at the Hideout were kind enough to record the show and send it my way, so we're going to make it available by download on Sunday by 5 a.m. You enjoyed that First Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Everybody was on their best behavior. Everybody was respectful. And folks, there's an ongoing struggle in my beloved Democratic Party between people of the lefty persuasion and centrists. We're seeing it played out in so many ways. Sean, I don't know if we'll get around to talking about this today, but Congressman Sean Maloney will now be running the what is it, DCCC. He's replaced Sherry Bustos, and he's determined to win back seats that the Dems lost in this round, to hold on to that majority that they have in the House of Representatives, getting a little closer. That's why that election in New York is so important. The one where they found the 44 ballots, that election. How do you bridge the gap between lefties and centrists? And Rosanna is a socialist, an avowed socialist, and PC is an avowed centrist. But you know what? They were respectful. They didn't yell at each other. They let each other finish his or her thoughts. I wish they could make carbon copies of Peter Cunningham and distribute him around the Democratic Party, so they weren't centrists get such a bad name because of people like Rahm Emanuel, so arrogant. But there were some common ground, particularly on police reform issues. So interesting discussion about the future of the Democratic Party and what Dems could do to unite for once, as opposed to fight. Not fight, unite. So that'll be Sunday.
Available on Sunday, Rosanna Rodriguez-Sanchez and Peter Cunningham, PC. Get this, Ben. PC, partially centrist, huh? Right? Ready to get it? You like that?
Good.
That's pretty good.
Good is he good.
It'll be available on Sunday morning. Oh, real quick, shout out to the live stream chat. Frank, we love you, pal. And boy, I really wish you would have ran that DAGA bit by me before the show. Frank says DAGA actually means Democratic Attorney General Association, so it's taken.
Wow. I did not know that.
And Frank, for some reason, did.
I want something that goes with MAGA. I really want, and DAGA, MAGA, whatever.
And finally, on Monday, available at 5 a.m., it's the long-awaited return of Lakeisha Collins. We haven't talked to her in quite some time. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Lakeisha was a candidate when we talked to her. Now she's a state rep from the West Side. A fascinating personal story. She was awarded the state, and I don't think she graduated from high school. She had a child at a very early age, and sort of her life was saved when she got a job at a nursing home. And she worked in the dementia unit. And she talks about how the difficulties of that job, particularly the terrible pay. And really, we were talking about this in the context of the ongoing nursing home strike that's occurring in the Chicago area. I'm speaking for myself and Dr. D. I know he's with me on this one. We're behind the nursing home workers 100%. Come on, guys. Come on, nursing home owners. Stop being cheap, okay? You're trying to the job that frontline nursing home workers have is so crucial and so important and so dangerous. They're exposing themselves to COVID, and you're paying them like $14 an hour. It's ridiculous. So we were mostly talking about the life of nursing home workers and why they're on strike. But then we got into some political issues, and I had to throw a couple of tough Michael Joseph Madigan questions to Lakeisha Collins, and we'll see how she did. I thought she handled herself pretty well.
Find out how she handled it. Download it on Monday. Available by 5 a.m. Lakeisha Collins returns to the Ben Joravsky Show. It's this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews, available by 5 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at the Chicago Reader website, chicagoreader.com/Joravsky. Ben, spell that last name for him.
Hold on. Water. Here we go. I should have pushed that little button. I always forget.
It's all right.
Yeah, Jorav, as in victory, as my beloved Bulls will do throughout this season, SKY.
That's a weird one. That's how you spell it, or wherever else you download your favorite podcast. Okay, local news. Let's do it. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
And for the record, I love puppies.
Today, the governor will be at the Thompson Center obviously for his daily COVID-19 press briefing at 2:30. If there are any major updates coming out of that, I will try to provide those at the end of today's program. Wait, yeah? What? Oh, hold on. What? Okay, Ben, I got our newsroom guy waving at me at the moment.
Oh, wow. I forgot about the newsroom.
That's
Now
easy to do. Easy to do. What's
they're
that?
working out of your apartment now, huh?
Yeah, he's at my apartment. He comes in before the show. I kick his ass out after like not even 2 minutes after. All right, get lost, pal. What? Okay. We have an update. Let me run to the newsroom real quick. Hang tight, everybody. Go to the newsroom. We'll see what we got here. Hold on. Here we go. Come on, give me the story. You're embarrassing me. What? No. After the show, you're out. Guy's a weirdo.
I haven't heard the newsroom in a while. Sounds like it's busy down there.
Lucky you. Lucky you. I hear it all the time. All right. Okay.
Okay. Is that the newspaper?
We do have an update.
Oh.
Oh my God. Still? You're kidding me. I'm so sick of this story. We have breaking news. Jesus.
I hope this is
2020 Illinois general election results.
Yeah. The Illinois general election was literally 1 month ago on November 4th. And here we are, December 4th, with another damn update. An update on that one Illinois race that will not go away. The 14th congressional district race between incumbent Democrat Lauren Underwood and the milkman, Jim Oberweis, will continue to haunt this podcast producer's dreams. Because despite losing by 1.4 percentage points, Jim Oberweis, the Republican challenger, is launching a discovery recount. Give it up, dude. Here's the press release from Oberweis. Of course, brought to you by Milk. Okay, here we go. Oberweis says, quote, "Today my campaign has formally initiated the process to begin a discovery recount. We are seeking a discovery recount in each of the 7 counties within the 14th congressional district. A discovery recount does not change a single vote, but it does allow us to see if the outcome might change with a full recount. Election law provides campaigns the ability to request a discovery recount in close elections. As we've said for the last few weeks, we would be seeking a discovery recount, and the first of these recounts have been formally filed in DuPage County. We will be filing paperwork in other counties in the coming days." All right, we heard it about 8 times there. Discovery recount. Ben, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it means he's on a fishing expedition. Get that fishing rod out. And he's looking for any evidence that he can discover that would enable him to go back to a judge and say, "Hey, I think we should have a full recount because I just discovered, let me think, 44 ballots that just happen to be like under a table in some courthouse in DuPage County. Wow, isn't that funny?" Much like what went down in the 22nd Congressional District in New York. And so then the judge would enable to do the full recount. I need an election expert because my knowledge of election law only goes so far. I need someone like Adolfo Mondragon to come on and explain how far this goes. Like, can they, if Lauren Underwood is officially certified as the winner, takes an oath of office as Congress, and if I guess a judge could just, like in June, I don't know what the law is, D, just to say, "Oh, wait a minute, we found 44 ballots. Isn't that fun? 44. It was right next to this Oberweis ice cream container in the storage room of the Oberweis ice cream factory." So I don't know what the rules are on that one, D, but it's desperation. I'm sure it's also an attempt to raise money. I've not gotten any Oberweis
Milk?
No.
Oh, ice cream.
No, fundraising appeals. That's what I was trying to say. So I don't know if he's out raising money. I know Donald Trump is just every hour. At least I get 10 of them, I think, from various people, begging me to give money to save our election fund. So he's keeping it alive. It's pretty obvious. The gap, I forget where the gap was. I haven't looked in that one in a while, but I think it's pretty obvious that he's not going to find enough ballots in the back rooms of DuPage County. But listen, I say this again. I've been following these elections a long time. I remember back in 1986, I want to say there was a special election in the 26th ward, very important election, the 26th ward of Chicago, because the winner of that election would determine who controlled the city council. Mayor Harold Washington, the greatest mayor the city of Chicago has ever had, or Fast Eddie Verdoliak. We'll be talking about him in a little while. One of the sleaziest aldermen that this city has ever had, and that's saying a lot. So this election, whoever won this election would control the city council. And it looked as though that Harold's candidate, Luis Gutierrez, remember that name, was the victor. And then they found, I think it was 12 write-in ballots in the bowels of City Hall for a guy named Blazinski. I think that was his name. I'm doing this all from memory, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite impressive. I'm doing this from memory. Anyway, and so that forced a runoff with Manny Torres. And so, yeah, these things happen, you know. When they happen, one side invariably is screaming fraud, hoax, rigged. I've been known to scream those things too. And the other side is saying, come on, stop being a poor loser. By the way, this is one of my favorite anecdotes. I remember Dennis's good friend, David Axelrod, the noted strategist and PR man, campaign advisor to Obama and Clinton. At one point, he was the campaign spokesperson for Forrest Claypool, who was running against John Stroger for county board president. And Stroger was in a coma. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. The poor man was in a coma, but he was in a coma and he was victorious. And I voted for him. Yes, really proud of that vote. Okay.
That's a good politician right there.
I voted for the guy in a coma. And I remember Axelrod coming on TV the night of the election and saying, you know, he's not going to concede, and then raising all kinds of doubts about the outcome of the election. He goes, you know, the machine. And I was sitting there amazed at the dexterity of David Axelrod. This is a man who by then had spent, I forget how many years, as a strategist and advisor to Mayor Daley. The epitome of the machine. And he's crying about the machine. And this just proves my point. When you lose, the tendency is to blame it on some powerful force that's evil. Even if you're a member of that force in most of your day job existence, like Axelrod was part of the Daley machine, part of the Daley operation. It was that connection with Daley that got him hooked in with the Clintons and then the Obamas. But he was, when his guy, Forrest Claypool, lost to John Stroger, it was like, that machine. You know the machine. What machine? Your guy runs the machine. So, yeah, there's a lot of crybabies on election night. That's a tradition, D. So Oberweis is no different than Donnie, crying like a little baby. You lost. You lost, Oberweis. You ran a racist campaign. You went up to Kenosha to try to, get the white backlash vote. And Lauren Underwood still beat you. You should just crawl away. Just disappear. You haven't done anything of service or value to the good people of Illinois. Just leave. Go back to running the ice cream factory. I don't know if he has anything to do with the ice cream factory, D. I just said that. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Can't quit. It's hard to quit. But at some point, someone like of sound mind should say, Jimmy, no. Let it go. That's advice Dennis has given me from time to time when I'm venting some ancient grudge.
Yeah, dude, get over it.
Yeah, let it go. Let it go, Benny. Let it go. So I will pass on that sage advice to you, Mr. Overvoice. Let it go.
Hey, don't touch my Bud Light seltzers. I'm keeping track. I have 6 of them.
There better be 6 when you leave. We have more breaking news, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, more breaking news. I know. Here we go. Ed Verdoliak, come on down. You're the next greasy-ass Illinois politician to go back to jail. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and John Seidel. Former Alderman Edward Verdoliak was just now sentenced to 18 months in prison in a long-running tax case. U.S. District Judge Robert Dow called the case, quote, a particularly sorry story because this is two experienced lawyers who were involved in this crime. The other was Verdoliak's co-defendant, Daniel Soso. Verdoliak spoke briefly to the judge, taking off his mask. The 82-year-old apologized. Jay Marie said, what is he, 100? No, Jay Marie, 82. 82.
I thought he was 83, but I'll stand by what you said. Go ahead, D.
And he said, quote, what happened was my own fault, and I take full responsibility. Ben, go ahead. Take it from here.
Wow. I could talk for an hour about Fast Eddie Verdoliak, Chicago politics, council wars, Mayor Washington, Mayor Byrne. And by the way, I just want to give a shout out to Mark Brown. He wrote an excellent column on this subject in today's Bright One. But I could sense the frustration of Mark Brown. Mark Brown, he's a little younger than I am. Most people are. But he's essentially of the same generation. He's a baby boomer. And as such, he came of age, politically speaking, as a reporter in Chicago during the days of council wars, when Edward R. Verdoliak, whose nickname was Fast Eddie, put together a coalition of white aldermen and one Puerto Rican alderman whose sole purpose was to oppose absolutely everything that Harold Washington did. And the prevailing theory, the prevailing philosophy is that, follow me on this, folks, is that if they brought Chicago business to a screeching halt, the business of running government to a screeching halt, the voters will revolt and oust Washington. And that would be in the long-term interests of them. So let's just make things as difficult as you possibly can to run government in the city of Chicago. Fast Eddie Verdoliak, and he used race. That was his tool. He used race, which was interesting because when he got his start, he was known as the guy who could bring black and white Democratic chieftains together. I remember when he was first elected chairman of the Cook County Party, a black committeeman from the South Side, Niles Sherman, I can't believe I remember these names, said that Eddie Verdoliak is going to lead us to the pot of gold on the other end of the rainbow, which was, considering all the corruption in Chicago and Cook County, not a really great metaphor to use, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Eddie Verdoliak eventually became a Republican. I say in many ways he was Donald Trump before Donald Trump. All of a sudden, he was appealing to the hardworking white people of the city of Chicago who had been ripped off by government that was too far left. I remember him giving a speech once saying you can't pray in school, but you can get prophylactics in school. I remember him saying condoms. He was outraged because you could get condoms in school, but you couldn't pray in school. I'm like, what is that apropos to anything? But that was where Eddie Verdoliak was going. And the whole time he was doing this, folks, he had a thriving law practice. And he always seemed to be getting in on the goods. You know, whenever there was a deal going down, somehow or other, Eddie Verdoliak was getting a piece of the pie. And this complicated case that Mark Brown did his best to explain to people has to do with the settlement that the state of Illinois got for tobacco case. And somehow or other, Eddie Verdoliak, even though he did no legal work on this, got a piece of that pie. And I'm with Mark Brown. I want to know, how did he do that? How did he manage to get a piece of the pie when he had nothing to do with the case itself? Unfortunately, that piece of information, the answer to that question, is not provided despite all the years of prosecuting Fast Eddie. So yeah, he's going to jail, or he could be going to prison. And I have mixed feelings. On one hand, he's 83 years old. I'm like, all right, can we just let up on Fast Eddie? On the other hand, what he did in terms of setting back the cause of improved race relations in the city of Chicago, setting up for 20 years of Richard M. Daley after Harold died. You know, when white people came to the conclusion that you cannot allow a black person to run the city because it would just mean chaos, an idea that's still prevalent in the minds of many white power brokers. What he did on that effort was so odious that I can't really feel sorry for Fast Eddie Verdoliak, that the feds caught up with him and they're throwing in the slammer. But yeah, it's a name from the past, D, and it's a name I know most millennials have a hard time understanding, that people like me and Mark Brown are still fascinated by the saga, the ongoing saga of the fast one, Fast Eddie Verdoliak.
The fast one. It says here, in an appeal for no prison time, a member of Verdoliak's defense team, talking about his medical condition, said he has fallen 4 times in the past 2 years. She held up a photo of him after his last fall. His eye looked swollen. There was a bandage on his head. She said it looks like he was in a fist fight. The prosecutor insisted that, quote, this is not a sufficient response to the gravity of the crime and to the history and the characteristics of the defendants. Yeah. So any last words here before we move on to the...
Well, you know, I hate to sound skeptical and cynical and jaded.
You hate to sound like Ben Joravsky?
But, you know, remember that the mobster in New York who was supposedly, I can't remember his name, but he was supposedly senile, and he would like walk around in his bathrobe, and his defense lawyer would go, how can we prosecute this guy? He's senile. He's in his bathrobe. And they would ask him questions. Sir, do you know your name? And he would go, huh? What? So you know what I'm saying, D? And then it turned out like the guy was really, you know, sharp as a nail. It's like that movie I've talked about in the past about the con man who pretends he's dim-witted when he's really brilliant. I forget the actor who's in it, but anyway. So I don't know. There's a part of me that's feeling sorry for Eddie Verdoliak. He fell. He's 82 or 83, whatever it is. Let it go. You know, it's having a rough time. On the other hand, I'm like, they don't call him the fast one for nothing. He may have a trick or two up his sleeve.
Right.
And the judge goes, oh, I feel sorry for you, Mr. Verdoliak. I will not serve you. And then, so I'm free? Yes, you're free. And then, whoopee, on a discotheque.
Yes, sitting and watching because he's 82. That looks fun.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't want to be jaded. I don't want to be cynical. Okay, D, I really am. This is my pledge. No more jadism. No more cynicism. It's going to be, if someone says something, I'm just going to believe them. Okay, that's how I'm going to be from now on.
Yeah, right now, Verdoliak's listening going, damn, I should have thought of that bathrobe move.
What was the movie, man? Come on.
I don't know. You sound like you were talking about Rodney Dangerfield to me. Just his...
No, the movie where it was a kid. And at the end, he fooled. Richard Gere was the lawyer. And what's his name? Edward Norton.
Oh,
was,
Primal Fear?
Look at you knowing stuff. Is at the end of the movie, he turns out to be brilliant. And Gere thought like the kid was dim-witted. And he turns out to be brilliant. He was faking. Remember that, D?
No, I don't. I just, for some reason, I just remember the title of the movie and who was in it. And I don't know why.
You know who will know? Rummana Hussain. She's coming on next. She'll know the name of the movie.
Damn, that was one good tease, pal. All right. It's going to be coming up. Stick around, all right? Okay, back to our regularly scheduled news here before those big breaking updates. We have some new pandemic data to talk about. Will school be back in session? Like actual school where students are in a classroom, you know, with each other? Well, the following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Nadir Issa. The headline reads, Illinois schools are not COVID-19 super spreaders. Data shows. In all, there were 16 schools statewide in the past month that were identified as having experienced an outbreak of the coronavirus. This is according to state records. And according to Dr. Daniel Johnson of University of Chicago Medical Center, quote, it's safe to keep schools open. Even as the region enters its worst period of the pandemic thus far, the vast majority of public and private schools in the Chicago area that have reopened in some capacity this fall have had little confirmed exposure to the coronavirus in the past month. A small fraction of schools have had outbreaks where virus transmission has been traced to school buildings, while high schools have shown to be more likely to experience COVID-19 scares than elementary schools. Those findings match nationwide figures showing relatively low instances of significant spread in educational settings, especially among younger students, and provide some insight into why health officials nationally and in Chicago have expressed strong confidence that schools are safer to reopen than first thought, even as the pandemic rages on. Now, the Chicago Teachers Union have responded, and we will read what they think in a minute. But, Ben, your thoughts on this new data. How are we feeling about this?
Well, first of all, I've said this before. I am completely all over the map on this issue, and I obsessively follow it. I follow politics in New York. We don't talk about New York politics much in this show, as we're a Chicago talk show. But Dee, I think I'd be capable of doing a whole show on New York politics because I follow it very closely, and it's a raging issue there as well. Where Bill De Blasio, the mayor of New York, wants to open the schools, and he's being cheered on. And it's a curious coalition of people that are cheering him on. It's liberals. And it's MAGA. MAGA wants to reopen the school. Donald Trump wanted to reopen the school because he wanted just to undercut the severity, the people's notion of how severe the pandemic was, and it would be the first step to getting the economy going again. So he professed to have great concern for the school children of this country, how they were missing out on an education, even though he never showed any concern whatsoever when it came to help fund the education. We'll get into into that issue in a little while. So, meanwhile, the liberals are saying, it's really important that kids go to school. There's these inequities between rich kids and poor kids, and school is really important to bridge those inequities, even though even my beloved liberals are very quiet when it comes to the fight to fairly fund schools. They've been quiet in the past, not nearly as vociferous as they should be. So, this is this coalition that's come together to say how important it is. And I don't know, Dee, at the same time, I'm reading your articles. Seems to make sense. The likelihood of spreading the disease is lower in a school, according to all the doctors and the experts. And then here's the headline in today's New York Times. California to reimpose strict lockdown rules as hospitals see surge. Biden will ask for 100 days of masks. Several states ramp up actions. Virus deaths, one-day record. They have this chart, this ominous chart in the New York Times, with the little red line going way up to the top. People are dropping dead of the virus. So it's like, to quote you, Dee, it's a mixed message. So it just seems so counterintuitive to be opening up schools at a time when we're telling everybody, stay at home. Don't go out. So all I got to say about this is, Dee, thank God I'm not in charge, because I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like a flag in the wind. I'm telling you the truth, ladies and gentlemen.
The pandemic started in March. Ben Joravsky, you would have been shit canned in April. Maybe mid-March.
But the reality, just think of our lifestyle. I'm speaking for myself because, Dennis's lifestyle is pretty much like mine. I don't leave my house. I go for a walk once a night. That's it. I'm in the attic doing this show. I'm so afraid of getting the virus. And Dr. D is kind of the same way. He's in his apartment. We don't even in the same. I haven't seen the guy literally since June.
Well, you've seen me on the computer. I literally haven't seen you because you got that old ass computer where you don't have a camera. It's just a big giant capital B.
I'm gonna get one. I really want to be able to my guests to see me. I think that helps the conversation. D, that is my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna get a new screen. It's the screen
monitor.
Monitor. Thank you. God, I need help from the millennials. So here, it's easy for me sitting up here in my attic. Yeah, get back to school, kiddies. Learn stuff like I did and Dennis did. Okay. But I'm saying that when I'm up in my attic.
And
So I don't know.
it's
Mixed messages, Steve.
It's been going on for what, 9 months now, and it's just a slippery slope, right? We kind of see how this goes, right? Okay, it seems safe to do schools, and then it'll open, and then a month later we'll be back going back home. That's just how it's gone, right?
Yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We desperately need. And by the way, I've been talking about this a lot, even after the vaccine comes out. Life's not going to be. I think I said this on the show the other day when I went to the dentist's office. All the precautions they took. I went to the dentist on Monday. What a great job of cleaning my teeth. Shout out to the dentist. But I swear to God, it was like Hazmat Monday. And it was just the precautions that they took to prevent any possible spread of virus, including this new suction cup thing. I don't know. Have you been to a dentist lately, D? They have this
Suction cup thing. I don't know.
They put this suction thing. They put it in your mouth. And in the old days, they would put it in when you go to the dentist. They put the thing in the mouth and it sucks all the spit, the water in your mouth, and then they take it out. Now they just keep it in all the time. So you go gagging. And then they take the little drill. Don't talk. They put plastic sunglasses on you to protect your eyes. I mean,
when I went, the dentist, he had a face guard and a mask, and he'd be like trying to talk to me, and I'm like, dude, I can't hear you. Just keep going. Just go.
Wait, did they use the suction cup?
I mean, like, there's the little thing where you do the spit into that basic thing.
Now they keep that on in the whole time. So yeah, and then the hygienist said to me, it's going to be like this forever, even when they get the vaccine. This is just the new reality. I'm like, so
a brand new dentistry podcast coming on the Ben Joravsky Show, possibly.
Yeah.
All right.
Got the gift of gab. They can talk about anything to anybody.
All right. Now, so we've heard from the data. All right. Now we go to the CTU.
Right now,
what's that? Couldn't hear you. But anyway, the following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Alyssa Cherney. The Chicago Teachers Union. I'm sorry, this is the Chicago Tribune. My apologies. The Chicago Tribune. Now, let's just go ahead and now redo that, and we'll edit it into the podcast here. The following comes from the Chicago Tribune and Alyssa Cherney.
Ever notice how he takes his mistakes out? Ever notice that? Mine, I'm like stumbling. Oh, that'll be good.
Oh, dude, I'd be here all night if I had to do that. I don't make that much money. The Chicago Teachers Union bashed the city's reopening plan for public schools on Thursday, calling for specific health guidelines and more thorough protocols before it can support bringing any students into classrooms in early 2021. Here's CTU President Jesse Sharkey minus the car horns. We are in the process of putting forward demands in the city about how our schools can open. To be clear, CTU is not advocating schools close. CTU is saying if we're going to do school, any plan has to have 3 elements to it. Safety. There has to be an element of equity, and there has to be an element of trust. Sharkey also insinuated that CPS is rushing the process because of, quote, political pressure to jumpstart the city's economy and to enable more parents to resume working. The virtual event took place as Illinois saw the highest 7-day average of COVID-19 deaths since the pandemic began, setting a national record. In Chicago, the 7-day rolling average positivity rate stands at 11.6%, with Black and Latino communities seeing the most cases and deaths. That's according to city data. In the wide-ranging CTU discussion, teachers listed a litany of problems with the plan, from a lack of basic sanitary supplies before the pandemic to the logistics of teaching in dual methods for students in person and those who opt to remain at home. Ben Joravsky, your thoughts.
Well, their Sun-Times story really gets at the division between the Chicago Teachers Union and CPS. I have talked about this yesterday. I've talked about this many times before. I do not understand the reluctance of the Lightfoot administration to treat the Chicago Teachers Union as a partner in this matter. When it comes to restaurants, Sammy Toya, the Restaurant Association, come on in, have an egg roll. We're with you. Remember when Lori Lightfoot urged people to go to restaurants. We're going to close restaurants on Friday for indoor dining. So it was like a Wednesday. Go to restaurants for these next 2 days so they don't get hurt. Like, what kind of messaging is that? I mean, if we're closing it on Friday, it's for a reason. It's dangerous. Why would you urge people to go to a restaurant? But that's the kind of cooperation. That's because the Illinois Restaurant Association contributed money to Lori Lightfoot. She doesn't see them as a threat. She sees the Chicago Teachers Union as a threat. She's been convinced from day one that Stacey Davis Gates is going to run against her for mayor. And maybe she's right. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But all I know is you got to be adults. You have to be partners and work together. And so what does Janice Jackson say in today's Bright One? About teachers. They haven't even... As far as I know, there hasn't been any kind of serious sit down between Jesse Sharkey and Janice Jackson or SDG, Stacey Davis Gates, and Lori Lightfoot. Good God, I don't think Lori Lightfoot would go in the same room as SDG. And so they've decided they're opening the schools in January. And if teachers don't show up, they're going to get fired. That's right, fired. We will take your car. We will drive it over you, whatever Lori Lightfoot says. Here's the quote. If they don't show up to work, it will be handled the same way it's handled in other situations where an employee fails to come to work. An employee. That's it. Shut up and go to work, teachers. And then, Civic Chicago. Oh, yeah, that's how you treat them. That goddamn teachers union. Civic Chicago, corporate Chicago, they don't like unions, but they hate the teachers union. And Lori Lightfoot's no fool. She knows that the most despised union from the center right, the teachers union, I'd say the most despised union on the left is the Fraternal Order of Police. So she's fighting both of them. And then she goes, look, I must be doing something right. Fraternal Order of Police doesn't like me and the CTU doesn't like me. I don't know, man. If you're going to try to figure out a rational way to reopen the schools, you should be working in partnership with the teachers. You shouldn't be commanding them. Shut up, sit down, roll over, beg. My column for next week is an interview I did with a teacher. Uh-oh, train going by. Do you allow applause? But of course, you'll take that out when the masterly.
Let's try that mute button. Try that mute button. Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Too late. Too late. You missed it. You missed it.
I had it, but then I had that baby boomer panic. You know that baby boomer panic? Like if you do anything on a computer, it's going to just shut everything down.
Yeah, you're going to accidentally hang up. But that's one of these times doing it. But hey, we gotta hit the bumps in the road before it can get smooth, you know?
I'll push the wrong button. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Baby boomer panic. Wait. Hold it. Do I push this button?
No, but you were talking about your column coming up, though.
Oh, my God. So here's a school teacher in the city of Chicago, and she's pregnant. So she's at risk. And Lori Lightfoot and Janice Jackson have conceded that at-risk teachers should not be required to go back to the classroom. So she's trying to get an official excuse into the Board of Education's bureaucracy so that the Board of Education won't fire her. You know, that's their first thing. If you don't show up, we're going to fire you. You love being tough with teachers. And guess what, D? It's such a hopeless bureaucratic breakdown. One computer's not talking to another. Her doctor's computer doesn't connect with the Board of Ed. She's on the phone trying to get the person at the Board of Ed to make the adjustment. No one's answering the phone. No one's responding to an email. It's a typical story of somebody lost in bureaucracy while the clock ticks down to the deadline when she has to go to the school or loses her job. See, that's the example of just lack of working together, just commanding. Because what? You don't like Stacey Davis Gates? You think she's, what? You know, I don't know, too mean, too aggressive? I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. They really dislike Stacey Davis Gates. So I don't know. I don't know how Chicago's gonna get its act together, D. If New York's a lot better, I can tell you that. De Blasio and the head of the New York Teachers Union, Mugro, are working a lot more in harmony than Lori Lightfoot is working with Jesse Sharkey or SDG. So, we're the second city when it comes to schools. That's for sure.
All right, guys. And if we've learned anything about 2020 and living life under a pandemic, it's good God almighty. It's a hot, shitty mess. All right, guys, that's our news. Remember, you can find us at Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can always send us an email, bennyjshow@gmail.com. Hey, leave your name and where you're from if you'd like us to read it on the program. That helps. And you can call us, 708-658-4788. That number again, 708-658-4788. We do have a phone number, and we proved it on yesterday's program because as Ben was ending the show yesterday, well, someone called, and I didn't know how to shut it off. It just kept ringing while you were talking. It was kind of weird. I didn't know how to fix that. So I'm going to work on muting the phone ringer, but you call us and you leave us a voicemail, and there's a good chance we will play that voicemail on the program. Once again, download this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning, available by 5 a.m. at both the Chicago Sun-Times. Oh, not anymore. That's a force of habit there. We'll edit that one out too. The Chicago Reader website, and wherever else you download your favorite podcasts. All right, I'm going to get a hold of Rummana Hussain right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk with her. It's the Rummana Rundown, and it's the Ben Joravsky Show. We are live from my apartment in Ben's attic. Don't go anywhere.
You made me cry. You made me cry. You touched my heart, and I appreciate it.
We heard what you want to do. Now we'll tell you what's best for you. That's the story from the editorial board. A little tip for the working man. Your employers are all our friends. That's the story from the editorial board. That's the story from the editorial board.
I want an answer. It's not something you ignore.
I think you're 100% full of shit is what I think.
Hour number 2 of the Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you in part by the Chicago Reader and our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. Benny J, take it away.
Every Friday on the Ben Joravsky Show, Rummana Hussain, sometimes editor, sometimes columnist, proud graduate of Niles West High School, and I just threw that in there. And a dear friend of the Ben Joravsky Show joins us. Rummana, looks like you're on the road somewhere.
No, I just have my coat on. I just came into my mom's house. I'm locked in my old bedroom. I'm just going to go on a walk. I'm off today, so I'm going to go on a walk with my sister and a friend.
Wait, you're in your old bedroom?
Yeah.
Wow, we can see like the posters. I'm really curious what the posters are on the wall from the 1980s.
No, the posters have been taken down. It's been kind of renovated, but unfortunately, it's been renovated the way I would want it now. Like it has like all these, it has this great cabinet where you can put jewelry and all that stuff. So I have to, whenever I get a new house, I'm going to make sure I have one of these things at my next place.
All right, your next place, as opposed to the place you live now. All right, I said we were having a conversation about, Dennis and I were having a conversation about 20 minutes ago, and I made a prediction that you would know the answer to this.
Okay.
So you have no prep. This is totally improvised. I'm watching her, so she's not cheating and looking at her phone. I predicted you would know the answer to this. I just looked it up on my phone. I was trying to recall a movie starring Richard Gere and Edward Norton.
Oh, I know that movie.
And I couldn't remember the name. At first, I couldn't remember Edward Norton's name. It was a real baby boomer struggle I was having. But I recalled Edward Norton. I remember the movie very well. I was really into this movie. I think I've seen it twice.
It wasn't Primal Fear, was it?
Yes! Okay. Excellent! Rummana Hussain, ladies and gentlemen. She didn't let me down.
I have fond memories of that movie for many reasons. Because, my parents saw it first. My parents, we got them we urged them to go on a cruise. I don't know why, because that's something my parents wouldn't do. But they went on a cruise. And they, I guess they had every night they had a movie, and my parents came back. My mom told me about this awesome movie, and this guy, she was telling me about the young man who did a really good job and who accused, the priest of molesting him, or the cardinal of molesting him. This is the Chicago Cardinal. And then I remember reading reviews about it, but I saw it after my parents. So my parents were cooler than me on that. And I remember, the movie was filmed at 26 and Cal too, as well. Did you know that?
I did, if I probably knew it at one point because I've seen it twice, but I did not remember that.
Yeah. And if you go to the courthouse, I actually covered the courthouse for about 10 years. I was a criminal courts reporter before I became a full-time editor. There's one courtroom where it kind of looks a little more spiffy than the others. And I was told that was the courtroom that they used for the movie. So they kind of upgraded it and kind of changed it a little. I mean, there's fishbowl courtrooms at 26 and Cal, which were made in the 70s and are not very attractive, but the older courtrooms are really attractive. But there's one that stands out. And then I actually knew the prosecutor who actually trained or prepped Richard Gere on how to play, because he played the prosecutor, right? So how to play the prosecutor or the defense attorney. Maybe he was a defense attorney.
I think he was defense attorney.
Yeah, he was a defense attorney. Yeah. And so there was a prosecutor, an assistant state's attorney who was Richard Gere's coach, or kind of prepped him on a lot of stuff that lawyers talk about.
All right, well, let me tell you why it came up. And then I'll transition to, I'll throw a real tough question at you, see if you duck and dodge it. So it came up because Dennis was reading a news item about former alderman Eddie Verdoliak.
He got 18 months.
Yeah, he got 18 months. Okay, that was not the trivia question.
Oh,
so,
damn, she's thinking.
We're not there yet. Wait, hold on. Brown line passing. I'll let the suspense build.
Also, the trivia question is not spell Verdoliak.
Yeah, that's Rummana could do that one because she's an editor. But okay.
I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say I could do that because I was Indian and good at spelling, but
no, I didn't. go there. I went with the editor thing, which is a lot, less offensive. Because I'm still allowed to make fun of editors, okay?
Indians are good at spelling. That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I know some Indians who are terrible spellers. I'm just throwing that out there, okay? Just throwing that out there. Some Indian Americans are good at spelling, and others are really bad, like a certain Schreeder who will go unmentioned. All right, anyway, so Eddie Verdoliak, his lawyer was... going back to Primal Fear, I remember the end of Primal Fear. It became clear that Edward Norton was pretending. I forget what he was like, pretending he was dumber than he really was. And he was actually brilliant. And Gere realized that he'd been fooled. I just gave the movie away. Oh, sorry, everybody.
It's okay. I think everybody who's going to see it saw it.
Saw it. Yeah, no one's going to see it other than me. Would go back and look at it anyway. And so I was thinking, because what triggered that thought, Rummana, was Dennis reading this news item about how Eddie Verdoliak's lawyer was trying to win sympathy for the judge in the sentencing by showing him pictures of a doddering old Eddie Verdoliak, talking about how Eddie Verdoliak has fallen 4 times, showing like that Eddie Verdoliak is just at the end of life's journey and show compassion and sympathy. And I was wondering, should I feel sorry for Eddie Verdoliak, or was this an Edward Norton-like moment where they were fooling me? What's your thoughts? Go ahead.
I don't know. I just think, I'm not talking as a reporter, but I can see that swaying some people, because, you see an old person and you're just kind of like, oh, they're elderly. But just because someone's old doesn't mean, and then I'm not pointing to Ed Verdoliak's case in this situation, but, you look at people who are old and they were, they worked in Nazi concentration camps. But I think it's just something that elicits, like, it's a human impulse, I think, especially when you come from cultures where you're supposed to respect your elderly individuals. Like, I know in Indian culture, it's like you're supposed to respect the elderly people. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who's old is awesome, but you just I think it just kind of triggers a sympathy kind of twinge in a lot of people. So I think that's a natural reaction, but then you have to, as a judge or, as a prosecutor, you probably have to look at the whole picture.
Yeah. I don't know how I would go in that one, but while Dennis was reading that, all I could think of was Edward Norton's character pulling a fast one on Richard Gere.
Or Kaiser Soze. I was like Kevin Spacey's character, pretending that he couldn't walk at the end of that movie. Do you remember that? And then he starts walking.
Yeah. Which movie was that?
God, I'm forgetting the name. God, it was so famous in the 90s.
All right, now.
Okay, that's the one.
Now we're moving. Since you mentioned the 90s, this is time where I throw Generation X under the bus. And that, of course, is your generation. And we already kind of made fun of you and your husband, Mick, earlier this week on the show. Generation Xers, our resident Generation Xers on the show. Mancow for governor. Mancow, the popular radio personality, very extreme right winger. I wouldn't vote for him in a million years. He's running. He probably, if he does run, he's going to run as a Republican. Who knows? It could be a publicity stunt. Did you have a fondness as a Generation Xer for Mancow? You said that that Generation Xers are the only generation that really loves him. I was just wondering if you shared that love for him.
Well, he's a few years older than me, so he is a Generation Xer himself. But he was really popular in the mid 90s, I want to say. And I'm not gonna lie, I did turn on the radio sometimes when he was on there, but I did not like him. So it was kind of like one of those things where I turned him on the radio. He was kind of like a Howard Stern figure, I guess, in Chicago. And people would listen to him. He was really popular. I remember in April Fool's once, he said that Dennis Rodman was traded from the Bulls, and people actually believed it. It became like a news story. And I don't know, there was a height of Mancow craziness. And it probably was a lot of people from my generation listened to him. Was I a huge fan? Probably not. And I don't think, but I knew who he was. He was that big. And then, when we moved, the Sun-Times moved to the Apparel Center near Merchandise Mart. This was in 2004. We, of course, used to be on Wacker that was the old Sun-Times building. So when we moved to our second home, Mancow used to work, I think, at Q101. So I would see Mancow all the time, like walking in Merchandise Mart. And then I was like, oh my God, is that Mancow? And this is when his popularity kind of was a little wane. I was when I wrote an article on the Cubs and liking the Cubs as a Muslim American, with one of the Ricketts making those anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant comments a few years ago. I was actually asked if I could be on Mancow's show, but I couldn't make it that day. This is when Mark Conkle, your former boss, was on Mancow's show like once a week or a couple days a week, and he called me and asked me if I wanted to be on the show and talk about it. And I was kind of torn. I'm like, do I do this or do I not do it? But I was at the doctor's that day, so I couldn't do it.
Would you have done it if you weren't at the doctor's?
I don't know. I was kind of torn. I was like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Because I do know Mark Conkle, but at the same time, I was like, I had, because of some other issues, I was torn about it. And then, Mancow was like, do I really want to be on Mancow's show? So it didn't happen. So I was going to say there is some Mancow connection with me. But, I saw the headline about Mancow running for governor, and my husband, Mick, yesterday was like, did you see Mancow want to run for governor? I'm like, I saw the headline and I just didn't want to read the story. But then I said, it's not like he's going to win. But then I stopped myself and said, Then again, Donald Trump is president, so anything is possible.
Absolutely. I did not dismiss it anymore. No more. After Donald Trump, I mean, you could say after Jesse Ventura in Minnesota as well, a wrestler winning. But after Donald Trump in particular, no way. Anything's possible. The cult of celebrity is really powerful in this country. And so, I think Mancow could win the nomination. And then once he's the Republican nominee, anything is possible, particularly with Michael Madigan, with the Republicans really taking advantage of the antipathy people downstate have toward Michael Madigan in the suburbs. So anything is freaking possible. It's funny you should mention that. I had a moment, I recollected it on the show the other day, Rummana, where there wasn't Conkle, he didn't reach out to me, but somebody else from Mancow's show reached out to me to ask me to come on because I was always bashing Rahm and he was bashing Rahm, and I just didn't want to do it. I just did not want. It's okay for me to bash Rahm, and if Mancow wants to join the parade, he could bash him too. But I didn't want to go to a bunch of Republicans and throw anti-democratic rhetoric their way. When are they going to bash a Republican? You know what I'm saying?
Your bashing and his bashing are probably different kinds of bashing. They're different strains of bashing.
Yes, exactly. Well put. I'm coming at it as a lefty, and I don't know what he's coming at it from. But anyway, so, now speaking of your generation behaving badly, I'm really throwing it on Generation X. And you actually raised this topic, so don't blame me. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old from Antioch, Illinois, who felt compelled to show up in Kenosha with a rifle and killed 2 people, and got out on bail to a large degree because of Ricky Schroeder, an actor from a Gen X actor. What's the name of that movie? I've just blanked on the name of his TV show.
Silver Spoons.
Silver Spoons, yes. Dennis's favorite show.
How'd you know?
Dennis is too young.
I remember Silver Spoons.
You were probably a baby.
He had like a little train he would ride on in his house. He had a hat on.
Jason Bateman was also on the show. He played his obnoxious friend, but everybody was like, you knew Jason Bateman. And then Alfonso Ribeiro, who was also on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he was also Ricky Schroeder's friend. Those 2 guys became more famous than Ricky Schroeder himself.
You know who Alfonso Ribeiro is, right, Ben?
Yeah, he's
Carlton.
Oh, yeah. There we go. You passed the 90s trivia test.
Yeah, well, I mean, Carlton was by far my favorite character on Fresh Prince. By far, not even question. There's no one even. I still watch Carlton dancing videos on YouTube.
To Tom Jones.
To Tom Jones, yeah. So, Ricky Schroeder. I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse. It was really bizarre.
It was Ricky Schroeder and the MyPillow guy who their contributions helped Kyle Rittenhouse get bailed out or bond out. And of course, so Generation Xers. But I mean, I think Ricky Schroeder I think people knew that he was a little more to the right, but I think a lot of Generation Xers are like, whoa, taking a step back. I have a cousin who sent Ricky Schroeder a fan mail when at the height of his fame, and I remember her showing off this, quote unquote autograph pictures. I told her it was probably a stamp. This is in the 80s, and she was showing it to me. And then I texted her as soon as I saw the Kyle Rittenhouse story and Ricky Schroeder bailing him out. I said, "Oh, look at this! Remember when you had that picture?" And she's like, "Let's pretend that never happened." But Ricky Schroeder was a big deal. I'm telling you. I had to break it to Mick that Ricky Schroeder bailed Kyle Rittenhouse out. He's like, "What?"
I've it's interesting. It's funny because the right wingers in Hollywood are always saying they're an endangered species. People are picking on them. Their liberties are denied. And here, this guy's publicly giving money to Kyle Rittenhouse. It doesn't seem to be affected in any way.
I can tell you, he would never bail me out, Ricky Schroeder.
Yes, he would never bail you out, nor would you.
I wouldn't have to kill anybody. I just, be on the internet and pretend that I was going to join ISIS, and I'd get arrested and sent to jail, and nobody would bail me out, let alone Ricky Schroeder.
Well, this is one of our favorite themes, and we can't say it enough, the hypocrisy on the right when it comes to violence. Kyle shot 2 people dead. We all know he did it. That's not in dispute. It's been let out on bail, and it's being portrayed as an innocent victim. Like the other people were the aggressors. So they're literally putting the victim on trial, which is everything that right wingers would be so enraged at if it were happening to, let's say, a police officer. And so just the hypocrisy is kind of hard to take. And then when you see Ricky Schroeder coming in out of the 80s to kick in some of the money to bail him out, I don't know. It's very tough for me to take, Rummana. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked. I don't know. So that's what I was saying. The funny thing is, for people from my generation, Ricky Schroeder, I mean, he obviously was in The Champ. I know he was in that. And wasn't he in Kramer versus Kramer? So I think he was this child actor before he jumped on the scene.
Was he in Kramer versus Kramer? Was that Ricky Schroeder, the kid?
Or maybe it wasn't. Don't quote me. But The Champ he was in with John Voight, who's also a Trump supporter. So a lot of people have been posting pictures of them in The Champ, and there's been many memes on that. But I don't know. He might have been the child in Kramer versus Kramer. I never saw that movie. I never saw The Champ.
According to IMDb, yes, Ricky Schroeder was in Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, okay. I've been pretty good today. I've been pretty good.
You are on a roll.
And that movie you were talking about with Kevin Spacey, Usual Suspects.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, sorry, that was the one thing I blanked on. But Ricky Schroeder, I mean, he was a big deal in the 80s. I mean, even I liked Silver Spoons, and it was my siblings and I, my older sister, me. We liked the theme song too, and it was just about this guy who had a dad who worked for some toy company, and he was kind of like a kid himself. And then, Dennis said, he had that train that I wanted. I wanted that train in my house.
I remember watching it and going, "Oh man, my life sucks."
Exactly. I think a lot of girls thought Ricky Schroeder was cute, So it was. It was one of those things. But I mean, Ricky Schroeder, I think the last thing I know that he was on was NYPD Blue. But I don't think he's done a lot in a long time. So
if there's any truth to the rumor that the lefties control Hollywood after giving this money to Kyle Rittenhouse, he's never going to do anything again in Hollywood. But I don't think that rumor is true in any regards. And by the way, I looked it up. And it's Ricky Schroeder may have been in Kramer versus Kramer, but he did not play the kid. Oh, okay. That was played by an actor named Justin Henry, who
so maybe he played a friend or something.
Probably a friend of the kid. By the way, Will Smith, I didn't talk to you about this in our pre-show conversation. This was a mini obsession of mine. I don't know if you saw this. Okay, so follow me in this. I guess I like Prince of Fresh
Prince of Bel-Air. There's a reboot, right?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So I was watching, I was looking for Carlton bits. So I was watching bits and takes of it. And then I stumbled upon this conversation between Will Smith and an actress named Janet Hubert.
Yeah. Who played the original Vivian, the mom.
Yes.
They hated each other.
Yes. Did you follow this exchange at all?
Yes.
I really love your thoughts on this because what happened, just to help people, listeners out who may not have followed this, I was really into this. Will Smith, who was the star of the show, the driving force of the show, the most powerful person with the show, he had clout on the set, made a comment that Janet Hubert, the actress who played Aunt Viv, was difficult, and she was dropped from the show. Essentially, she's really struggled to get roles ever since. And so they sat down and they had this conversation where she said, "You calling me difficult branded me as a black woman in Hollywood. It's like a curse that I can't get away from." What's your thoughts about this, Rummana?
Yeah, I remember when the old Vivian was replaced with the new Vivian, and you heard both of them are on the new show. So both moms. I don't know who plays who, but yeah, I remember at the time in the '90s because I used to watch that show. You know, when I watch it now, it seems a little dated, but I still loved it when I was younger. And I just remember them talking about Will Smith just like hating her. And I remember being confused because I felt like Will Smith had this like persona where he was supposed to be really friendly, but it just sounded really it sounded bad. It sounded like they really hated each other. So I don't know. I think that's true. I mean, Will Smith, he was like rising at the time. He had that one song called, was it Parents Just Don't Understand? And he was just like, he was rising up the charts. And so, yeah, I think that could, brand her. I don't know that much about the fight about who was like probably right and who wasn't, because, I'm sure actors can be difficult. There are certain actors, but, definitely some people have, we heard about Ellen, who has this persona that she's supposed to be like really friendly and fun. And then it turns out she really wasn't like that. So there could be a possibility that Will Smith really had this vendetta against this actress. And yeah, we didn't see her after that. And I remember I liked the old Aunt Viv better than the new Aunt Viv.
I'm team new Aunt Viv.
Are you? I'm
Yep.
old Aunt Viv.
I love new Aunt Viv.
I liked old Aunt Viv better than the new Aunt Viv.
She was good. They were both good.
They were both good.
They were both great.
Good. They were both good.
And
Yeah, I go ahead.
I was
Dee,
going to
what
say
were you
also, it was I heard that Will Smith did Fresh Prince because he owed a ton of money in taxes, and it was like a way to help him pay off taxes, and the show skyrocketed.
Yeah, it was a shrewd move on his part. Not only paid off the taxes, but he's became a millionaire and a superstar. But if folks are interested, you can check it out. It's on the internet, The Exchange, because Janet Hubert does not back down.
Oh no, she was never shy. She was never shy. I remember in the '90s too. She was very vocal.
Well, but in this with Will Smith,
this is a more
with Will Smith. They're having this discourse, and he says, "I'm sorry," and she's very cool and calm, But what I'm saying is, she just doesn't say, let him get away with saying, "I'm sorry." She says, "Well, it really hurt me. And it really hurt my career." He goes, "I'm really sorry." Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Where Will Smith just completely undercut the career of Janet Hubert, and maybe feel bad for her. So all right, let's move on from celebrities and in movie and screens and talk about the double standard regarding my favorite Congresswoman, AOC. She may be your favorite Congresswoman as well. I don't know for certain, but this one erupted over the last week where right-wingers, MAGA people, Ben Shapiro were outraged, I tell you, that AOC was fundraising by selling a sweatshirt for $60, later reduced to $55. Soak the rich. Your thoughts, Rummana?
Wasn't it Tax the Rich?
I think it's Soak the Rich, but
oh, okay. But I think she had a couple versions of the T-shirt. They said different slogans. I don't know. I mean, at the same time, if she's fundraising, of course the T-shirts are going to be a little overpriced. I personally I don't know if you when you go to concerts. When I was younger, I'd always wanted a T-shirt from the concert, and these T-shirts would be overpriced, and I'd still get one. And that's just a way to get people, motivate people. And I understand people wanting to have T-shirts. I remember taking my niece to see Hillary Duff in 2003 when she was little. My niece is now 26, but I remember I bought her. She's like, "Oh, can I get a sweatshirt or a T-shirt?" And they're like $60, and I was like, "Oh." I was like a sucker because she was my niece, but I ended up buying it. I was telling my sister about it. I'm like, how much this shirt costs? So, we know T-shirts and sweatshirts, and especially if they're branded by certain people, they're going to be overpriced. And if she was fundraising, I don't know. It didn't really. I mean, as a non-journalist, I'm speaking not as a journalist. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm a journalist. I'm not supposed to be I'm not supposed to be paying for any any not making any political contribution. So I'm not going to be buying that sweatshirt myself. So yeah, I mean, she even said that, AOC even said that she was giving the T-shirts and sweatshirts away for free for people who volunteered for some campaign. So I don't know. I thought it was just a little overblown. I don't think it caught that much traction as you think. Did you see the story? Did someone flag it for you? Because I didn't even see it until you told me about it.
How did I find it? I don't know how I found it. I really don't, because I don't follow MAGA Twitter.
You probably have AOC on like a Google alert or something. Maybe that's how.
No, you know what? I got this new thing. Oh, this is how it happened. This is Ben meets millennial age. So I got this new phone. Follow me in this, Rummana. And so whenever I do this is how I know about these things. So whenever I do a Google search, which I obsessively do all the time, I've done like 4 of them in the show today alone. Whenever I do a Google search, it pops up all like a list of things that are trending on Google. Okay. Yeah, and that's how I found out, for instance, Letitia Wright, the actress, had come out against vaccines. So all the things that you used to tell me about and I would not know, and I'd have to look up, you know what I'm saying? Now I know. I'm like hip. Oh,
He's getting good. He's getting good, isn't he, Rummana?
Yeah, I know. Now he's got to learn how to see how things are trending on Twitter.
Oh my God, we don't want to cross that bridge yet. All right.
I can't stand Twitter, and don't get me started on Twitter. But so I saw AOC and I looked it up, and it just plays in, I guess, more me than you, that this notion that if you believe in eradicating. Or socialism, but I would just say in the most general terms, eradicating inequities, getting wealthier people to pay a greater portion of the cost for running government. If you believe in that, then you're what? You're supposed to wear like torn, tattered T-shirts, eat bologna sandwiches anytime. I don't see how it's hypocritical if you enjoy the finer things in life.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, like even some people on the left, think that you have to like look a certain way and be poor and not like anything that's designer. And I don't think that's true. You can still like that stuff and still speak out, you know what I mean? As long as I think there needs to be a balance. I mean, you could still like fashion, and AOC likes fashion. That's like everybody that knows that. And people think that just because she dresses a certain way that she's blowing off a lot of money on her clothes, and she actually isn't. Sometimes you can get good deals on a lot of things. So, and you can sometimes dress well and like a wardrobe that doesn't cost that much. So I don't know why people think that if you are someone who is against social inequity, that you're not going to try to like raise money to bring awareness to certain causes or for campaigns. Bernie Sanders is a millionaire, isn't he? And I know some people bring that up too, but I'm like, well, is he not supposed to make any money? Like everybody wants to live comfortably. And I think if you happen to be someone that, there's people who are probably not making that much money. I mean, there's a lot of Trump supporters who aren't making that much money. So am I supposed to say, well, you're supposed to be rich because you like Donald Trump? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. The logic is like a little flawed.
Yeah, well, the notion they want to undercut the guilt that they may have, that they're supposed to feel. I doubt Ben Shapiro feels any guilt whatsoever about anything, but the guilt that they are supposed to feel at the fact that they're reaping the benefits of a system that's rigged in their favor. Like this story was in the Sun-Times yesterday and the New York Times and the Tribune about how 1%, the top 1% of the people who got loans from the federal government to protect the payroll got 25% of the money. So you get what I'm saying? It's like the richest the rich get rich.
Exactly.
And so my response to them is, hey, if it's hypocrisy because you don't believe in government coming to the aid of people in need. Why are then you with the first one in line with your hand out? So I guess everybody plays that game to a certain degree.
For sure.
All right. Now we're coming to a favorite part of the show. Actually, it's the first time we've ever done this. And it was Rummana who alerted me to this bit that we're going to play. Dennis is going to play. And this falls under the category of Indian Americans behaving badly. And I didn't know about this story until Rummana alerted it to me. So Rummana, then I listened to it. I said, "Oh my God, we have to play this and get your play-by-play on this one." This may be one of the worst moments of a Trumpster. I don't know. There's so many that are in the running, but this is a MAGA supporter in Michigan talking about the need for voters to identify themselves with ID cards. So, Dee, play it away.
Absolutely. Hold on. Let me rewind it here. Rummana, how was your holiday? Was it a good holiday?
It was okay.
Yeah?
I missed my family. We all kind of ate at our respective homes. We shared food and divided it, but it was okay. It wasn't one of my best Thanksgivings, but I'm glad I'm healthy and I'm happy, so I was thankful. How about yours?
It was good. Same.
Did you go back home or stay in Chicago?
Oh, I was in Chicago. Yeah, I went to my girlfriend's and her had dinner with her mom. It was a good time.
Oh.
Hey, here's that video.
Okay.
Okay, come on, you phone. Hold on, gang. Here we go.
The other representative said that you can actually show up and vote without an ID. It's shocking. How can you allow that to happen? Like, a lot of people think all Indians look alike. I think all Chinese look alike. So how would you tell?
God.
If some chow shows up, you can be anybody and you can vote. And if somebody with my name, you can't even tell my name. Anybody can vote on my behalf. So ID should be the basic requirement.
Please, let's let her testify, everyone.
The other representative said.
Oh my God.
Oh God. You know,
Okay.
some people think all Indians look alike. I think all Chinese look alike, and then the people clap.
Well, I should tell you something that's really funny before. Okay, I personally do not disagree with this woman, and I was ashamed as an Indian that it was an Indian woman who said this. But, you know, the funny thing was I was telling my husband, I mean, I don't drink, but, you know, one of the things that a lot of teenagers do is get a fake ID, right? So my friends who were East Asian and my friends who were South Asian in the 80s and 90s, whenever we needed an ID, all we would do is ask one of our friends for their IDs. We didn't need fake IDs because everybody thought we'd look alike. Like, I would go into, like, my cousin, when he was in college, he went to Champaign and he goes, "Hey, listen, we all want to go out." And one of my friends is like 20. She was in college and we all want to go out and can she be use your ID for the weekend? And I was like, sure, but I'm like, she better not be ugly. That's all I'm saying. The people, we used to use each other's IDs to get into places. Like, you know, Samina Mustafa's on your show. Her sister, who's like 5 years younger than us, one of her sisters, she used my Northwestern ID to go to Northwestern, the library. She was able to use it. My niece has been able to use my ID for the gym. But this is like in 2000s now.
Yeah.
But it's funny. So we do make jokes about that because if you take it to a club, like in the 90s and the 80s, like everybody would use each other's IDs. And my Korean friends would say the same thing. They're like, we don't need fake IDs. We just take our friends or our siblings and we can get in anywhere. But that's totally not true. We don't all look alike. We just use that because we used people thinking we all looked alike for our advantage when we were teenagers and young adults. But for this woman to say that, I mean, I heard this woman, first of all, I shouldn't even give her name. I'd like to know her name. And second of all, she is like going on the worst stereotype ever. And then she couldn't even prove that there was voter fraud. And I'm just like, what is your problem? Like, that is just like the dumbest thing to say. So it's like this hearing in the Michigan state legislature sounded like just like a joke. And so for my siblings and I and some of my friends were all kind of sharing this information, and we're just like, oh my God. And then apparently she started comparing like the elections in the United States to elections in India. And I was just like, God, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. You know what I mean? Yeah, please stop. And I have to say, Ben, you know, the person of the year on Time Magazine is a young Indian American teenager. So that makes up for that. That's trending on Twitter today. A 15-year-old girl is the person of the year, Indian American on Twitter. She's a scientist, a young budding scientist. So I was like, okay, that makes up for our embarrassing Indian yesterday. It keeps her out. So
I did not know that, and I just lost a bet. Oh my goodness! When you said that, I lost a bet. I made a bet with an old friend, Josh. If you're listening, you won the bet. Actually, I don't even know what the bet was, but I think I lost the bet because we were talking about who would be Time's Person of the Year, and I said it'll be Biden. Of course, he won the election. They always, and I didn't. Wrong again.
It's a kid. It's the first time Time Magazine had named a kid. It's a 15-year-old Indian American girl.
Do you know where she's from? Like which city?
No, I'm not sure, but
state?
Angelina Jolie interviews her in the Time magazine article. It's trending on Twitter.
All
It
right.
was at least a couple hours ago.
Well,
This is why you have to be updated on Twitter.
Updated would be
Dennis has
like
to show you. Young Dennis has to show you.
get on Twitter. It would be like you can't even update. It's like I get on Twitter.
You know, we figured out the mute button yesterday. We'll get to Twitter. We'll get there.
All right, let's close with Rummana's recommendation. What do you got to recommend for us, Rummana?
So my recommendation, as I was telling you earlier, earlier today, is a Turkish drama. It's an 8-part series called Ethos. It's a really good drama. It's not like fast paced. It's a little slow, and it shows you how different cross sections of Turkish society, their lives kind of intersect. It's actually very poignant, and it points to, like, you know, everybody always, when they talk about Turkey, they talk about secularization. Turkey's a mostly Muslim country, and it shows you kind of the paths of those who are, you know, quote unquote, more religious and those who are secular. And it doesn't really demean any of the characters. It doesn't make the religious characters seem like, you know, they're like dumb or foolish. And it doesn't really show that all the secular people are necessarily smarter. So I think it's very nuanced, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're into something that's a little more serious and a little more poignant, I would recommend Ethos, and it's doing really well. And on Netflix, it pops up as one of the more popular series on Netflix. And my younger sister told me about it, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if you'd like it. It's a little slow, but I loved it. If you're looking for something a little more thoughtful." And I also, while I was watching that, after work, I'd also watch The Undoing with Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman, which was like all the rage. And one of my friends was telling me to watch. It's about this a man who has an affair with this woman, and she ends up dead. And Hugh Grant plays that man. He's like this successful physician married to Nicole Kidman. And I have to say, we were talking about courtroom scenes earlier from the Edward Norton film. This has courtroom scenes, and it just annoyed me. I didn't like the show as much as other people did. I thought it started off strong, and then it got really weak towards the end, and I knew who the killer was. It was pretty obvious. But the courtroom scenes were just like ridiculous. Like if you ever covered court in real life, you're just like, that never would have happened. Like the defense attorney, all of a sudden she decides to put this 10-year-old kid on the stand in the middle of the trial. Like, I'm like, that never would have happened. It was a little funny, and it kind of made me chuckle a couple of times. But if you want to watch like a popcorn, like entertaining, like Ethos is my more like thoughtful. And if you want to like watch something that's a little more cerebral, you would watch that. And if you just want to not think about anything, you'd watch The Undoing.
Well, you know, I kind of want to watch Ethos, but you keep saying it's slow. And your endorsement of Ethos is sort of like the most, like, how do I put it, undercutting endorsement I've ever seen.
No, I want to say it's good. I want to say it's good, but I'm just saying, like, I know you like fun things. Like, you don't want something necessarily dark. It's not dark. I don't want to say it's dark. I'm just saying that it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's gotten, you know, watch one episode and see what you think.
I'm going to give it a shot this weekend, and then I could get hooked. And after that setup from you, I'm a little embarrassed. I already revealed to you what my recommendation. I'm a little embarrassed because talk about something that's really dumb and really sweet, Happiest Season, which is a Kristen Stewart movie about a dysfunctional family, and that is forcing a daughter to pretend that she's straight when she's a lesbian. I can't believe I liked it as much as I did. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I liked it.
It's okay. I heard Dan Levy's in it, Eugene Levy's son from Schitt's Creek. I heard he kind of steals the show, where people really liked him.
He got the best lines, but I gotta say, Kristen Stewart was pretty good. I'm like, dang, she's good. She did a good. Listen, man. I'm really. This is one of my recommendations where I put an asterisk next to it saying "buyer beware." I'm embarrassed.
Mine was like mine was an asterisk too, and saying that it might not be for everyone, and it's not like there's a big reveal, but it does talk about you know, humanity. But yeah, it's okay to like. It's okay, Ben. You could like.
It's okay to like schlock. Okay. Yeah, well, I really liked Happiest Season a lot.
Was it on a Hallmark or a? Hallmark.
I don't know if it's it's Hallmark-like, but I don't know if Hallmark was the producer. I remember those Hallmark shows from back in the day, but I have no idea. But it's very Hallmark-esque. You know what I'm saying? And it all works out well.
Did it make you cry like Sophia Loren?
No. Sophia Loren, oh, God. No, I've been watching a lot of Sophia Loren movies since then. Sophia Loren, that movie, which is on Netflix, A Life Ahead, is my favorite movie of the year, I think.
Really?
No, a movie, I can't remember what I saw in the 20. Well, you know, an asterisk next to that, Rummana, because I haven't seen a lot of movies because of the pandemic. I've seen mostly streaming shows. So anyway, all right, Rummana, thank you so much. Stay safe and sound, and we'll talk to you next week, okay?
It was good seeing you guys. Take care.
All right, very good. Every Friday in the Ben Joravsky Show, Rummana Hussain from the Chicago Sun-Times. D, what you got for me, young man?
Oh, Rummana, wait. I miss her every time to give her my recommendation. I was gonna suggest that she watch Ben Shapiro's Sunday Special on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, she'll be running out to watch. Me too. What time does that start?
It's on Sunday mornings. Yeah, you'll hear Ben Shapiro.
Really, guys? Really, guys? Really, guys? More on the Democrats being horrible people. Really, guys? Really? But first, do you need gold? Get Birch Gold.
My Ben Shapiro impression.
Really,
That's
guys?
a good one.
Really? Really, Ben? Really? It's a good one.
Hey, let's do the back half. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
You made me cry. You touched my heart, and I appreciate you.
Oh, well, we appreciate you too. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, no public event scheduled today for our Chicago mayor, but Mayor Lightfoot is scheduled to speak on national television on Sunday, as she will appear on a show with maybe the most intimidating title known to man, Face the Nation. No pressure, Mayor. You'll just be facing the nation. Oh, God. Ben Joravsky, any idea as to what the mayor will be talking about on Sunday?
None. By the way, we will have a correspondent watching that. Young Patrick Whalen is the Ben Joravsky wake up early Sunday morning and watch all the news shows correspondent. Every podcast needs one. That's because I usually don't get up till around noon on Sunday. So, Patrick, start watching Face the Nation. If I could guess, I'm sure she's going to talk about how she's reopening the schools. Going to take a few shots at the teachers union while doing that. We have to be responsible. You know, how she passed a budget, how everybody came together in the city to pass the budget. You know, I'm thinking of things that Lori Lightfoot will be talking about, how she's looking forward to more cooperation from Joe Biden, how, you know, she's hoping that Joe Biden will enable cities like Chicago to get the stimulus they need to pay their bills. You know, how she's looking forward to the end of the Trump administration because it's absolutely fair game for any Democrat in Chicago to trash Donald Trump, you know, trashing Michael Madigan. A little different story there. I'm just trying to think, these are the things that I can see her talking about. Face the Nation, and how it's been a very difficult year. We're coming to the end of the year. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, what kind of year has it been? Well, it's been a very difficult year. You know, that kind of thing, D. She's going to extol the virtues of the Ben Joravsky Show, her favorite podcast.
Of course, that's going to be happening. Yeah. She'll remind everybody to download the Benny J bonus interviews this weekend.
Yeah. So that's my guess as what she'll be discussing on Face the Nation.
Really, Mayor Lightfoot? Really, Mayor Lightfoot? More on Mayor Lori Lightfoot being horrible. But first, do you need bed sheets?
Now I just can't stop doing my Ben Shapiro.
Really, guys? Really?
Here, I'll snap you out of it. Alex Jones.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have the documents. Really, guys? Really? More on that in moments. But first, you need bed sheets.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's not selling bed sheets,
and
he's selling fluoride.
He's selling survival seeds.
Yeah, survival.
Whatever the hell those are. And hey, speaking of the mayor, there's a giant bus waiting outside. A bus packed with Democratic elected leaders in Illinois ready to move on. A bus waiting to roll over long time Democratic Illinois House Speaker Michael Joseph Madigan. and yesterday we mentioned it, and I guess we should get a quick update here. Now, Ben, if you look outside, wait, let me open the door here. Hold on. Get a better view. Now, if you look outside there at the end of the parking lot, yeah, you're going to see this lady. You see the lady over there? See that lady over there in the parking lot?
Oh, yeah.
Man, she's eating steak. She's on like her third scotch.
Yeah, and she's smoking a cigar.
Yeah, and a cigar. Yeah, that's Mayor Lightfoot over there on that bench. She was asked Thursday about her stance on what we call Madigan Gate, the time utility bigwigs, ComEd, admitted to arranging jobs, contracts, and payoffs to the associates of Speaker Madigan. Lightfoot was asked if Madigan should resign. And, well, I mean, it was an answer. It was an answer. I can't tell if she's jumping on this bus or not. I mean, she's right here. She's in the parking lot. You know, let's read her response again. And, Ben, you tell me what she's thinking here. Also, tell me if you hear the word resign anywhere in this answer, by the way. So let's just read this again, get a little clarification. Like I said, she's out there in the parking lot. Let's see if she wants to come on board. Mayor Lightfoot said about Madigan possibly resigning, quote, "Our democracy depends upon the people believing that the leaders stand for them, that we are working hard every single day on behalf of the people and not on behalf of ourselves. That is the only way that our democracy will survive and flourish, if people have confidence in the people they elected to do the right thing for them." But Mayor Lightfoot, what about Madigan? Now, that doesn't happen when there's a cloud that hangs. That doesn't happen when people feel like elected officials have been completely compromised and have an agenda that has nothing to do with people's business. That's the wrong direction for any of us. Yeah, that's great, Mayor Lightfoot, but about Madigan, we can't do that if you don't have legitimacy of the people that elected you in the first place. That's not just a statement about Mike Madigan. That's a statement about all of us. Okay, so resign or not? I think the number of Democrats that have come out now numbers something like 19. From the math that's been reported, he doesn't have enough to become the next speaker. Lightfoot then promised to, quote, "have more to say about this at another time." But she did argue that her record on transparency in government predates her campaign for mayor on a promise to, quote, "bring in the light."
Oh, God.
Ben Joravsky, I read this yesterday, and I'm still struggling with it. I need some clarification. Dude, what the hell did I just read?
Well, I'm with you. This is a classic filibuster. I've discussed many times the different ways that politicians avoid answering a direct question. You can put it to them directly, okay? In fact, one of my favorite moments from my interview with Lakeisha Collins, state rep, good sport, because I put the Michael Joseph Madigan question to her right there. And then I followed up with a Rahm Emanuel question. And she goes, "Ben, you just don't give up, do you?" Which I thought was a pretty good comeback. Remember that, D? But when you ask a politician a direct question, there's many different methods they employ to avoid giving you a direct answer. And one is the classic filibuster. And that was Lori Lightfoot doing a filibuster. Brilliant. Can we give a standing ovation to Lori Lightfoot? On your feet, ladies and gentlemen. That was a filibuster at its best. Come on, Frank, get up. Come on, everybody, all the listeners, get up. That was a great filibuster. So what you do with a filibuster is you're asked a direct question and you just talk about everything else in the world. How about those Bulls? You know, Wendell Carter Jr., a heck of a center. Can he play with Lori Markkinen? That's the question. Can those two big men play together? But Lori Lightfoot, what about Michael Joseph Madigan? And Kobe White? Is he going to reduce the turnovers? That's what we want to know. Yeah, but Lori Lightfoot, what about Michael Joseph Madigan? And did I tell you, I love Patrick Williams, the new rookie. So that's what they do. They just talk about other things. But it's interesting, D. I think she did not address the question. I think it was a filibuster. I think it was pretty obvious to anybody that she was ducking and dodging, that one with the filibuster. But not all people agreed with me. And so now we're going to play a new game on the Ben Joravsky Show. We usually Sun-Times Tribune headline battle, Tribune, and see how the other media people.
I really need to make an intro for this. It's Battle of the Headlines.
Battle of the Headlines.
Sorry.
Let her rip, buddy.
Let me get my newspapers out. Gotta get my newspapers out.
No, he's not wrapping Christmas presents, guys. Those are newspapers.
Hold on. Brown line going by.
Oh,
hey, Mayor Rom, how you doing? He's, trying to show Biden he's really the transportation guy. He's driving the brown line. He's got a little choo-choo Charlie hat on. Hey, everybody, I'm Mayor Rom. I want to be transportation head. So, Sun Times headline. And I'm reading my beloved Bright One, home delivered every day. Lightfoot leaves little doubt. Madigan must give up gavel. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. They must have heard something in that speech that I didn't hear, D. I didn't hear anything remotely resembling like giving up the gavel. I don't even think she talked about the gavel. You know what I'm saying? She talked about our system of government and our democracy, small d, and how important it is to have trust in the democracy. Yeah, but what about Michael Madigan? And did I tell you that I believe in bringing in the light? And I believe in transparency. Yeah, but what about Michael Joseph Madigan? And did I tell you that I opposed Ed Burke back in the day, huh? Did I tell you that? Yeah, but what about Michael Joseph Madigan? I'm out of time. I got to go. That's what I heard. Meanwhile, young Gregory Pratt from the Chicago Tribune, he wasn't fooled. Headline in the Tribune. Here's the same story. Lightfoot says she has, quote, great interest in ComEd case. That's hilarious. That's the most, what? Evasive way. Lori Lightfoot, what do you think about Michael Joseph Madigan? Should he step down? I have a great interest in the ComEd case, and I'm following it all the time. Yeah, but what about Michael Joseph Madigan? I'm reading article after article in the ComEd. I listen to stories about it. I follow the YouTube feeds about it. Yeah, but what about Michael Joseph Madigan? And here is a conclusion from Gregory Pratt. She did not address, however, whether, here we go. Lightfoot added that she's watched with great interest the number of people who have been silent and who haven't stood up, end of quote. Oh, okay. However, she did not address whether Madigan should be reelected as speaker, saying she would have more to say about the situation at a later time, while expounding on the need for residents to have faith in their elected officials. Isn't that funny? She kind of throws all the people who didn't say anything under a bus. That's what she did with the bus. And then she didn't say anything. D, that was one of the most masterful jobs, I have to say. If it was an ice skating competition, the judges, she's done skating around the issue. The Bulgarian judge, I give it a 9. The French judge, I give it a 9. And the U.S.
That was a great French judge.
The U.S. judge, Betty J., I give her 15 over 10 because that was a great, what is it? Triple axel. A triple axel. Isn't that where they jump in the air 3 times or something?
Yeah, either that or a triple toe loop.
Fruit Loop? Your favorite cereal? What? So I just think that was a brilliant exhibition of skating around a question until the poor exhausted reporter got tired of asking it. Hey, and it got a favorable headline out of the Sun Times, I suppose. But Gregory Pratt, you couldn't fool him. D, he may have been born at night, but he wasn't born last night.
No, he was not. By the way, I like Fruity Pebbles more than Fruit Loops. But the mayor's out there in the parking lot, like I said. Let's just go ahead and ask her one more time, I guess, to see how she feels, see if she wants to jump on the bus here. Hold on. Let me open the door.
Hey, Mayor! Madigan, should he resign or no or what?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
All right.
Oh, hey, and easy on the scotch, please.
And it's, by the way, no smoking on the bus, okay? It's a bus. You can't smoke the cigar.
Absolutely. Because I already tried rolling a doobie on it. I'm like, hey.
It's legal now in the state of Illinois. You know that, D.
But hey, that's our show, guys. We hope you have a great weekend. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show. You can send us an email, bennyjshow@gmail.com, and you can call the Ben Joravsky Show, but not right now, okay? Yesterday, we were ending the show, and someone called us. when you hear the show in, give us a call. That'd be great because I can't figure out how to mute it. But 708-658-4788. The number again, 708-658-4788. Call the Ben Joravsky Show. Leave us a voicemail. And be sure to check out this weekend's Benny J bonus interviews. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. A brand new interview for you to download. And we will be back on Tuesday.
Yes, indeed. Rummana Hussain, thank you very much. Excellent job, as you always do. And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the pride and joy of all in Illinois, without whom the show would be possible, as Will Smith, as Janet Hubert,
that's my Will
as
Smith
Ricky
impression.
Schroeder. Oh, that's pretty good. And as Man Cow. We'll tell you, back home in Alton, they call him Dr. D. Give yourself a raise, take it out of petty cash. Have a great weekend, everybody.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
That is correct. That is correct.
I just biked around Lake Michigan. I just biked around Lake Michigan. I just biked around Lake Michigan, nearly 1,000 miles.